What's up, peoples? Welcome back to See These CDs, where in each one of these videos I highlight a select CD from my personal collection and just dive a little bit deeper into the overall cover art, graphic design, and packaging for the CD. If you haven't figured it out, today we're going to be talking about or highlighting Big L's 1995 debut album, Lifestylez of the Poor and Dangerous. And if you're not familiar with Big L, well, I kind of understand he is definitely one of the most underrated rappers in the game, to ever come out. But with that being said, this man has to be one of the nicest motherfucking rappers I've ever heard in my life. My uncle originally put me on. He has I first heard the Big Picture, I don't even know, maybe probably 10 years ago, 10, 12 years ago now. And this, pretty dope body of work. One of my favorite tracks is the collaboration with him. Ron G is the DJ on it, and he's spinning. He does the intro, and then you got Tupac. He does the intro too, and then Big L closes out the song. One of my favorite collaborations, or just songs from Big L in general. But not to get too far off topic. The CD originally, or Lifestylez of the Poor and Dangerous, originally was released under Columbia Records, March 28th, 1995. It clocks in at almost like a quarter under an hour, at 48 minutes and 51 seconds. As far as the art direction goes, that was credited to a Michelle Willems, and she's a pretty prominent graphic I don't know if I'd call her a graphic designer, but she's a pretty prominent artist. She's worked with, just a lot of labels and, music oriented, or just entertainment oriented, magazines and companies. She's worked with Sony, MTV, Honey Magazine, Tommy Boy Records, and New York University as well. And as far as the other artists that she's worked with as doing art direction for. The matter of fact, before I go further, the companies I just named, she was actually the art director for each one of those companies, within her past. And as far as the other groups that she's worked with, she had a few CDs here and there. I don't want to minimize her work. I want to say when I was looking at it, it was somewhere. Probably, a little bit over 10. I'd say 10 to 15 CDs, that I saw. Her most latest work was a De La Soul project, The Anonymous Nobody, which, it came out in 2016. That was the last, CD I saw her work on, or, that was credited to her. And as far as, the photography goes, before I move on to that, Michelle Willems, I just want to, go a little bit more. So, like I said, she has worked with De La Soul, but she's also worked with the likes of Escape on, their CD Off the Hook. That may be a single. I should probably fact check that, but it's either a single or a CD. That was when singles were more prominent, so it gets a little bit, foggy. I wasn't sure. It wasn't necessarily labeled as a CD, but I don't know if you guys are familiar. Singles used to come out in CD format, or you could just buy it might be the actual single you're hearing on the radio, and then maybe it'll come with an unedited version, an edited version. You might get a bonus track on there. But that's how they used to produce singles back in the day, just so people could purchase the song, listen to the song, before the actual album came out, before iTunes and just digital purchasing was prominent. She's also worked with Cyndi Lauper on her project 12 Deadly Sins and then some. And I really just, including these other artists that Michelle Willems has worked with, just to give you an idea of, everyone, or just to give you an idea of, the genres she's bounced back and forth in between. Moving on to the photography, that's credited to the photographer and film director, Danny Clinch, which is actually born in Toms River, New Jersey. He's got a pretty prominent name himself. It doesn't really surprise me, considering you had the ability to work with the likes of someone like Big L. He definitely should be put up there with the bigger names. And he's done a lot as well. Like I said, worked with a lot of big names, big musicians. Also, he's worked with Bob Dylan, Tupac, Johnny Cash, Bruce Springsteen. When I say worked with, he's photographed these people. He's Big L, I would say personally, as a fan of hip hop and just music in general, I would say he definitely fits in that fold of the names I just mentioned. Just being iconic and great. Maybe he didn't put out as much, but that's due to his untimely death, unfortunately. What was his name? Danny Clinch has also worked with, taking photographs for Vanity Fair, Spin, The New Yorker, New York Times Magazine, and Rolling Stones Magazine. And just to go back to Michelle Willems, before we move on to actually checking out the CD and the art and stuff like that, getting a hands-on approach. Michelle Willems is actually currently she's the art director of UNICEF in New York City. I just wanted to give you a background for the art direction. Or art director being Michelle Willems, and the photographer Danny Clinch. Both big names. You can definitely find more about them if you want to look into it. Before we go ahead and get the hands-on approach for Big L's Lifestylez of the Poor and Dangerous. I just want to point out some some elements to this cover. First thing I noticed, or one of the things that just stood out to me, I would say, is the parental advisory sticker and where it's placed on the CD. I would assume, it doesn't say, it could probably fit right there, and they could have just minimized it. I just think it's interesting that it's dead center, kind of on the the actual cover, right there on the left hand side next to the traffic pole and the one-way sign. It kind of fits over there because that one-way sign. It seems like it may just be a sign. I don't know, a sign on that pole, from the street or whatever. I don't know if they did that. I'm assuming they did that because it probably would have been a little congested over here, considering the titles at the bottom. Then we have the Big L right there, so they couldn't put it in the top right hand corner. I have seen that from time to time. I just thought it was interesting. You just have your man Big L standing on the corner, which I would assume is New York. It's got to be New York. Where else would it be, right? And then he's got his people in the background. It's nighttime. He's just grilling, giving you that typical Big L face. Blank face, basically, yeah. The color scheme, it does seem to fit into the photography, or at least they try to work it into the photography, so it all blends. If you notice, the lifestyles and of the Poor and Dangerous, or the Poor and Dangerous part, is black text, while the of the is a brown, similar to what would seem like the concrete, and the overall lighting, that it seems like natural light from New York. If you've walked around there, at night, you definitely I would assume you'd be able to take a look at this picture and get an idea. I don't think they had a whole bunch of those big lights. If you guys have ever been around any type of sets for videos, or it's even photography shoots, you know what I'm talking about, those big lights they use to illuminate. I doubt anything like that is around here. Still a dope picture, very authentic, you're catching him in his natural element. I want to say, was there something else? Another thing too is I think it's funny. We have different slangs nowadays and different ways people spell things. But if you notice, we got the Lifestylez with the Z, of the of OVDA. I just thought that little bit of slang. I guess what else can you call it, that slang? It's funny how it shows the times, or kind of timestamps it because the way it's spelled. It's just I thought it was interesting. It was pretty cool. We'll go around to the back. We have more of a illuminated shot of Big L and his boys. That's actually really pretty friggin' dope. I kind of I think I like the back more than I like the front. It's just a cool picture. I'm gonna try to close that and try to get just a decent shot. We have each one of the tracks listed at the bottom, which with each one of their the first letter. The first letters of the actual titles being in red. The rest of the tracks are just outlined in white for each one of the letters. We have Columbia Records on the right-hand side, closer to the binding of the CD. And then we have the barcode, which is in red. Once again, it's just interesting. I don't know why they chose to do that. It all definitely fits into the album. Like I was saying earlier, that natural light of New York is captured. When I say natural light, it's actually a very unnatural light, because it's from all the lights that are around wherever they're at. Really, this can't be Times Square because it'd be way more illuminated. New York stays lit. 24/7. If, everybody didn't know that by now. But yeah, so we can go inside, or let's look at the sides. Just to give you guys a good idea. We just have Big L once again. Lifestylez is important, dangerous. Columbia Records. We have some text over here. Not really sure what that's for exactly. Similar on this side. It's actually the same text as the other end. But yeah, it's just like a typical plastic CD case and packaging. Still pretty dope. When we go inside, I think that cover is pretty dope as well. It has to just be taken from the original picture from the front cover, because it seems like it's just zoomed in on that like that pole with the one-way sign, like the street pole I was referring to before. Because we do see like the don't walk like traffic sign right there as well. So I think that's a good use of the photography. I like how they zoomed it in and they made it black and white. Definitely makes it seem like it's kind of like a different image. The big L is there's nothing there, or at least like the letters are just blank. So we get like that shiny multicolored image from the actual back of the CD. We take a look at the back of the CD. It's just basic back of a CD, but I would flip around. Never know. You guys might want to check it out. And then it's the same image behind the CD. We just have the actual title of the CD on the right hand side. So if we just want to jump into the booklet the booklet's actually pretty simple as well. Nothing wrong with that. It's one of those it unfolds because I believe there's a poster that it unfolds to. I could be wrong. Yeah, I think I'm wrong. All right, so no poster, but we'll just start with let's start with the inside this time. So we have, that has to be, what is that? I'm trying to figure out if that's I would assume that's another picture of Big L. It's a little bit difficult to see because it's a small picture. That's still pretty cool. It's just like a small, square picture just placed in the center of, all this, like a black background. And then we just have, the title, underneath it and kind of wrapping around it a little bit in white of the CD. So, it kind of like when you open up the CD, I guess it gets more into, the whole, black and white theme. Continues on to the next page where once again we have the tracks listed, and it would seem we have that same picture from before, but now I'm able to notice I think there's people passing by. I think they were walking by while the shot was being taken, causing there to be a blur. And then we get the credits for the tracks as it continues to the next page. We keep with that white background in the center for these these three panels you're about to see right here. Yeah, this is the original picture. Who else would it be? It has to be Big L. We've confirmed that by looking at this, I would say. And I guess it's just more of his people moving around. Big L staying in the same place. Still pretty cool. Just giving you that blur effect because they're moving while the shot's being taken. And then we move on to this page, which seems to be just a continuation of this. It's like this 3 panel right here. So it seems to just end it or finalize it. And there's more track credits right there. Try and get a decent shot at that. Let me get a decent shot. I'll pan backwards. If you don't want to pause it, read it. Credits in here. And then the last page of the booklet inside is a black and white photo. A Big L once again with his people, except they're all on the stoop. I don't know if they were just Big L was waiting for them to all come out, and they were just snapping shots as they were progressively coming out. And this is more just all his people, from that were inside. Now they're outside, and this is more of the final picture. But yeah, if we want to flip around to what would be the outside. Once again, we have Big L's, all Big L's people, which that was the same photo from the back of the CD on the outside. Still a pretty dope picture. I just like that picture. It's the lighting too. It's the lighting. It's the don't walk. It's just everything. Big kudos 100% to Danny Clinch on this one. All the photos have been pretty dope, but that one, I don't know, something about it. And then Big L gives his his thanks, his love. To his family, understandable on his CD. He wants, thank the people who've been in his life. Some funny family, pictures right there. It's probably a little Big L, spin or whatever. Yeah, and then you got, I would assume the hands of Big L. I don't know what the hell this shit is. I only say that because I don't know if it's like some fucking gang signs or whatever the fuck. Like, yeah, so like I'm not really sure what he's doing right here. I would assume it has to be some like gang shit. Yeah, I mean unless he's just throwing up some guns or whatever. But I don't know like the exact relevance of this back then. This is it's still a pretty cool. Unless he's throwing up two L's. Not really sure. But I mean, L, more like, which I was in it. But I don't know. He could be. It's quite possible. I don't really know. But yeah, then there's just some like, label legality text right there. And then we're back at the front cover right there. But yeah, that was Big L's Lifestylez of the Poor and Dangerous. Yeah, and I mean, it was pretty dope. I never actually paid too much attention to the CD. With doing these series, it's allowing me to re-examine them. And when I say I didn't pay too much attention to the CD, I don't mean the music. It's just normally that's directly where I go. I buy I purchase the CD to consume the music. But doing this series, it allows me just to re-examine stuff. And I really do like the art. For this, CD cover, case, and packaging. It's a little simple at first glance. Once you get into it, it's just, I don't know, it's almost like it's just right. But yeah, so we're just gonna keep checking out CDs like this, and plenty of other different types of CDs. Typically it is rap music, hip hop that I'm looking into. But sometimes the genres vary. But yeah, so this has been See These CDs. Keep checking us out. Thank you, if you're one of our viewers. And all right, people, peace. I'm out.